Welcome into another edition of the Holt Naylor Show. The boys are back together. Jack Powers joins us to talk the ECU football season, what he sees from the defense, and more. Hope you enjoy the show. If not, as always,
Holt Naylor turns, and Holt will take off and run himself. He's at the 40-yard line. Holt Naylor's to the 30. Look at him go! 20, 10, 5, touchdown Pirates!
There's local politics, bud.
It's showtime!
Yeet! Welcome back into the show. I'm pumped, man. Jack, we miss you in Greenville. If people don't know, Jack's an OG. For the OG fans out there, Jack was the third co-host of the podcast, and now he's back. Jack, welcome to the show, brother.
Boys, happy to be back. Can't wait for the day where it's a more normal occurrence, but excited to run it tonight.
Well, it was good seeing you a couple weeks ago, Jack, during the app game. What are the odds that we get you to another game this year?
I've been looking at that Temple game for homecoming, seeing if we can make it happen. I can't make any promises yet, but if I can make it back to Greenville, I will. Funny
story about that. Me and Jack, you showed up late to the tailgate. I had a backpack, and Jack's girlfriend's dad just owns my backpack now. So I don't have the backpack no more. It's like a cooler backpack, but it happens.
we can get it back for you.
It's all right. No worries.
Jack, let's deep dive. So we've talked off air a lot, like me and Caden obviously doing the fifth quarter. We've been very vocal. You've been part of the social media part of obviously the Holt Naylor Show at Holt Naylor Show on X. But like when you see this defense, you're a defensive guy. The people who don't know, I don't know how they wouldn't know. You were a starting linebacker for us /DN the last 2 years. What are you seeing in the defensive side of the ball? Me and Caden are all offensive guys. Talk what you're seeing defensively, and also I want to ask about, losing Chavone. Let's talk about that after. What are you seeing so far of the defense this year?
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the first couple of weeks, I think it was that same dominant defense that we left up on from last year and the year before that too. Now, going into last week, I think that was probably one of the first times that I've seen it since being a player there and now a fan of these Carolina Pirates, where it seemed like the defense necessarily controlled their destiny. It seemed like at the end of the game there, Liberty was able to run the ball when they wanted to. And I think that was, like I said, for the first time we were seeing that, and we're not used to that. So I think there's a couple of things that could be credited to that. I think first of all, just playing complementary ball. You look at the time of possession from the app game, it's 21-39. We're losing that. And then you look at this last game, and it's 36-23. We're also losing that. So, I mean, I'm not saying this as an excuse or saying like this is the only reason, but you see the boys gassed out there. I mean, at some point, I think a little bit more complementary football needs to be played. Nonetheless, I think with our depth and stuff, there's no reason that another group of 5 team like Liberty should just be able to run on us when they feel like it.
Yeah, that's my big worry is like you go into the season and like the D-line, and Jack, you were part of that D-line. Like this is the strength of the team. Like if you want the game to depend on anyone's shoulders, it's the D-line. That's what you want. You want it to come down to, can they run the ball? No, because we'll stop them. We have guys who are 5th years, 6 years on that D-line, and Cade, now you're looking at it, and like Jack said, time of possession is huge. You've talked about that a lot on the fifth quarter.
Back-to-back games.
Yes, and live and die by the offense. Tempo. Okay, we've talked about it. We have great tempo. We're just not scoring points.
I think teams are trying to see it. You slowed the game down a little bit against ECU. That we have a good defense. How are you going to beat them? You slow the game down. You make the defense work. Give up a few yards at a time, and you don't believe in the offense. That's what the opposing teams are kind of their playing style right now.
Yeah, and that's where. And Jack, I'll get your opinion after this. I think the game plan, literally going into the game now, and like you just said, is like, let them start off hot, let them burn out. Their script is going to be good offensively. Their first quarter is going to be good offensively, and then they won't score touchdowns after that. Maybe one, but statistically right now, we score all points in the first quarter off of the script, and when we get off script, Caden, we're not scoring points. And then, Jack, I think defensively, especially without Chavone now, I think the game plan is let's get them to the fourth quarter, wear them down, because their offense scores so fast or goes 3 and out so fast that we just wear them down by the fourth quarter. Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, the fast offense, it's electric and it's fun to watch for sure. But at a certain point, if you're going 3 and out, is it helping or hurting you more, right? And so, I mean, it's kind of similar to last year in a sense. The defense gets off the field, and after 2 plays and a sip of water, you're getting the punt call ready, and you're right back out there. So, I mean, obviously, I don't think this offense is nearly as bad as we were last year. But, yeah, we got to just find a way to extend drives and play a little bit better complementary football.
We asked you about the defense. You know, overall, the 4 games, 2-2. Where do you see the team at overall?
So last week on the Twitter video, I said that it was a must-win game. And I didn't necessarily say that in terms of the Pirates can't still accomplish all the goals that they set for themselves before the season. They can still win the conference. They can still make a bowl game, win a bowl game, and have a successful year. What I meant by a must-win game is I think that these last 2 weeks have just been totally deflating to Pirate Nation, and maybe not so much the support, but the hype and excitement around it. Going in from this offseason, you have so much excitement, and everyone's talking about the returning defense, the new offense, a schedule set up for success. That app game we were all at, it was electric. It was so fun. But now, after 2 weeks of blown games, what's the talk and excitement going to be in Dowdy Ficklin this week? And, that could be a challenge to Pirate Nation. Are you going to give up on this team after 2 losses? Or, they could look at it as this is a whole new season with conference. All of our goals are still ahead of us. What's it going to be?
I think that's a big thing. The 3 a.m. loss was tough, staying up that late.
Yeah.
And then the way we lost, being up 17-0 at one point, I think I was pretty frustrated. But then us being former players, and then I also want to be putting myself in the fans' perspective now. I think the fans, we've been bad for so long. Yeah, we had our spurge where we made 2 bowl games, but that dominance that they expect ECU to be, like consistently winning, putting up 8 wins, putting up 9 wins, I think that's where everyone believes we can be at. So I think, and then another big thing is we haven't won that big game in a long time. We haven't beat an in-state opponent like Gap. We haven't beat a quality opponent like Liberty, though Liberty wasn't as explosive I thought they were this year. And then in this game they showed it. It's still that quality win with a quality opponent. So for you guys, the fans, I think they're just disappointed in big games. We want to win it. It's been so long. I think the last true big game we won was 2018 against Carolina. Maybe there's one in there I'm missing, but like a true game that the fans want to win. It's been what?
Like a local game
for
sure.
6 years. It's devastating. It's heartbreaking. But as a player, do we quit on this team with 2 losses? I know there's areas of concern, but where do you guys see the biggest weaknesses? And are you quitting on this team yet, or do you think this team's a joke, or where are you at? Because I know a lot of people are just frustrated, completely frustrated.
Yeah, I get the frustration. And no, am I going to quit on the team? No, absolutely not. Let's be completely honest. I think we'll still win at least 8 games. I started off the year saying we were going to go 10-2. I also bought into we called it last week, Shane Carr, the purple Kool-Aid with this offense. The offense isn't as good as we originally thought it was going to be. There was a lot of hype around it, a lot of hype around the play call, and I've just not been impressed. Completely honest. We'll dive into JDB here in a few, but no, I mean, you look at the schedule and we could possibly be a favorite every single game the rest of the year. The academies are going to be hard to beat. UTSA, you think you're going to be, preseason, they're the team kind of to beat in this conference or one of the teams. We're a favorite versus them, and we don't even think we're playing good right now. The hard games are past us, and we have all of conference left. If you go run the table, you're at least going to have consideration of being the G5 school. And I know that's way out of the picture. I'm not giving up on them, and I don't think we're going to be that team either, though. I think the offensive play calling has been horrendous. I've been very vocal that if Donnie was the OC, I don't think these games would have been any worse offensively with the talent that we have. And Jack, I know you kind of have an opinion on that as well, but I just think genuinely we got to be better offensively. And I don't know if we got to be coached better. I don't know what it is, but we hired JDB based off of the offense of Lane Kiffin, this up-tempo. You watch Ole Miss, they're lighting it up right now. You watch Tennessee, they're lighting it up right now. And our offense seems like a shell of that. It does not seem like that offense because it's not that offense. But we brought him here for it to be that offense.
I guess the question for you guys is, I don't know the week-by-week changes yet, but last week we led the NCAA in tempo. in the last 2 weeks, like we mentioned a second ago, people are slowing down their game on us and just killing us in possession. Is it time for us on offense to slow down our game and maybe change the tempo up a little bit?
It may be. And like, Jack, you're a defensive guy. I want to get your opinion on this, but like, our defense is so good, but they're getting tired late in games. And Jack, you mentioned this, and it's like, look, if this offense is going so fast and not scoring, then yes, you got to change it. If we're going so fast and scoring and giving our defense a lead, then it's okay. And we're scoring early, but then we get worn down, and then the defense goes out there, gets worn down, and in the fourth quarter, we're not scoring, and the defense is worn down because they're getting back off the sideline so quickly. And like, my thing, I think that bothers me is like, this is the first year with the helmet mic. This is the first year with tablets on the sideline. Where are the adjustments being made? There's zero adjustments being made right now. The only adjustments are on the defensive side from the other team scheming up our offense. We shock them early, score early, and there's no adjustments being made. Jack, is that what you see? I mean, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I like your point about tempo. It's all good when it's going good, right? But what is it like when you're not scoring every drive? Obviously, being players, we know how hard good tempo is to defend. It's another thing like I was talking about with those military schools. It's so hard to replicate during the weeks with a scout team. You're not going to get that same look that you're going to get in the games. The closest thing that we ever got in the past was when we would do that 2-minute drill at the end of practice once a week. But now they're running an actual tempo offense, so we're able to see that more. So it's just, can we be effective with our tempo? If the offense can't run it and can't run it successfully, why are we going to keep running it, right?
This podcast is brought to you by Anson Belts. Over 10,000 combinations of micro-adjustable holeless belts. Mix and match the buckle and the belt. Look, they got Jolly Roger Game Day. It's the official game day belt of ECU. Caden, you're a classy, dressy man. You love that Anson belt.
I love it. It's very nice. It goes with the work clothes, goes with the casual clothes. The holidays are coming up. I know we're in September, but I was in Lowe's the other day. They had Santa Claus out, and they had Halloween coming up. So if you want to get something for Halloween, you want to get something for Thanksgiving, you want to get something for Christmas or New Year's, check out Anson Belt.
AnsonBelt.com. Appreciate the support. Next, Clean Eats. Most of their meals are under $8. You got frozen meals, made to order, shakes. Kate, what's your favorite thing about Clean Eats?
The quickness, the quick and easiness. I hate cooking. I hate cleaning. You got to go to Clean Eats. I get a healthy meal. I get I wouldn't say cheap meal, but a good quality meal for their price in this economy these days, and I can throw it away and feel good about myself.
I'm about saying not feel like crap after you eat it, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look, we're taking care of our bodies now. Kairos Float and Wellness Studio. Go to kairosfloats.com. Look, if you want to float, take away your the gravity off your body. I turned off the lights completely. It's literally pitch black. It is amazing for 90 minutes. They also got infrared red light sauna, cold tub, salt halo therapy. Caden, it's freaking sweet.
Yeah, and you can do it as a couple. If you have a girlfriend, you have a wife, you have a buddy. Me and Holton you might see me and Holton floating together in there one day.
But no, shout out to them for the support as well. That's the $1 million question is, do you slow it down a little bit? Because look, this offense is built, and like, I'm just so kind of frustrated with it, just like a lot of fans are, because this offense is built, Caden. We watch Ole Miss play. We played that same offense when they were at UCF, that style offense at UCF, and that's what it was looking like. They were throwing it deep. This offense is meant to go fast, have a good run game, and then throw the ball deep and have explosive plays. Right now, we don't have explosive plays. We're not, and I'm breaking down the film.
We do. It's just the first two drives of the game.
Yes, and it's scripted stuff is what I'm saying. Like, the offense itself isn't producing points. It's the scripted stuff that we see earlier in the week that is scoring the points. In game, just offense purely producing is not producing big plays.
I hope you didn't plan to pull this up later, but I'm just gonna bring it up now. I saw some guy comment on your Twitter or X this past week, and he's like, "Why don't we just make the script longer?" And I don't know if we've explained the script to the fans where you understand it. I just wanted to you talk about that, because I get where someone could be like, make the script longer where you plan it out, but I don't know what are your thoughts on. I think you can only make the script so long.
Yes, I agree. You can only make it so long, but I would suggest making it a little long. You can add a couple plays. Do it as long as you can. I mean, if you're ECU, keep it up there as long as you can. But the reason we're talking about in-game adjustments and stuff is like the first, Jack, defensively, you can kind of give your opinion here, but like the first 2, 3, 4 drives, maybe the first quarter is like a chess game. The whole game is chess game, but really those first couple drives is a chess match between the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and quarterback, in that you're trying to figure out what are they doing. Are they doing what we saw on film? or are they doing something completely different? There's coordinators that'll show something one week and then show something completely different the next week. And Caden, you know this too, and Jack, I'm sure you know this too. Coach Harrell's really good at mixing things up, but like the reason the script is so important is because people are always going to go back to their roots no matter how much they show you disguise it, especially early in games. They're going to do things they trust. And if you can script out, like versus App State when we scored on the empty play, App State, what they trusted was to go empty and go cover 2. So we knew if you go empty and hit a seam bender, it's a touchdown. Mm-hmm. But then next time you go empty, they don't give you cover 2 because they made in-game adjustments. So that's why you can't keep the script longer. You can make it 3-4 plays maybe longer, but the script can't be 3 quarters because there's adjustments made and then the script's not ready for the adjustments, if that makes sense.
No, it's just you have basically a play of menus, which coaches already have. They already have their 3rd and 5 plays. They already have their 3rd and 10 plays. So if the script can only go for so long, I agree with you. Well, Jack has one?
Yeah, I just think it's also important to note that with scripts and stuff like that, yeah, you're going to come out that game plan and kind of like what you said, you might see what you've been seeing in film in the past. You might see something completely brand new. But regardless of that, if you're in a big game like that, there's usually going to be some kind of wrinkle, trick, or big shot coming out, especially try and get a swing of the fans and the energy, right, and the momentum.
100%.
So why don't
keep going?
I was just going to say, like, don't be afraid to go back to that. And I also wanted to note that I think the Pirates had chances to make plays. The plays were there at the end of the game. You know, I think there was drops and turnovers that were pretty costly. So I don't want to just be the complete bad guy. I do think that there were plays there to make. And I think that's important to note. But there is a drop-off.
There is plays to make 100%. And, like, one thing I keep preaching the deep ball. We got to hit the deep ball. JDB is getting the deep ball there, and there's guys open on these deep balls. We're just not hitting over the top. Like, we hit Chase on, like, a back shoulder type throw. I broke down the film right before coming here that releases on Tuesday, so it's already released by the time this podcast released. But Chase had him beat by 3 yards and could have been a real deep touchdown. It's like that's where it's like,
I'm at the point, can he throw the deep ball? Like, I'm actually questioning because he has a big arm. I saw a cross country route, deep, and he hit it in stride on a missile. I'm like, holy cow, that's a throw. And then you see the deep ball, which throwing deep balls is fun as a quarterback. You just rear back sometimes. You put your nice little touch when you need to. But I love throwing go balls. I think any quarterback likes throwing a go ball. But he can't throw a go ball out there. And that's the question I have. Like, as a quarterback, how are you not at least overthrowing the receiver? I'd rather have an overthrow sometimes.
And that's the frustration because, like, defenses are also going to see that. And he throws the out route so good, they're going to start sitting on the out routes because we're not hitting the deep balls. And that is where the concern comes from. And look, we'll go and get to it, Jack, because obviously you're a special guest. So me and Caden really haven't talked about is when do you make a change at quarterback. I think Garcia is playing good enough to win games, but he's not playing good enough to win big games, if that makes sense. Like, he'll go beat Rice. He'll go beat UTEP. UTSA is a bigger team, but I still think he'll even go beat them. But, like, if this continues, like, when we're not getting the explosive plays, we're only getting the out routes, when do you make a change?
I mean, I say, and I'm going to hate to see this, but if we go back 3 weeks in a row and do exactly what happens 3 straight weeks, and I said I hate to see it, but can't believe it happened 2 straight weeks in a row. If it happens 3 straight weeks in a row, we lose a grueling type of game again where we miss the big plays, because the last 2 weeks, even all 4 weeks, we've missed big plays over and over, and we lose another close one or we just lose in general, I think that's a switch. I really do.
Jack?
Yeah, I got a couple things. I think first, Coach Houston and JDB might be a little more cautious to make that move just because of the effects and results of a flip-flop quarterback system. You know, the old famous quote, you don't have a quarterback if you have 2, right?
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be kind of weary to make that move. But at the same time, similar to what Caden was just saying, there's only so many games that you can sit there and watch slip away when you need to win this year. And so, you know, if the team needs a jolt, a pickup, or a switch up, they can make this move as soon as in the next couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah, and that's what it is like conferences, like, that's the big test. Like, yes, we wish we would be better, but we also could be worse right now.
Oh, so much worse.
Like, let's not forget that ODU game was close a decent amount of that game. So, like, that is the time where you figure out who you have. And, like, my thing is, like, what is the offense's identity right now? Well, I feel like we don't have one. And that was a question JDB sat in your chair, Kate, and we asked him this offseason was, last year we didn't have identity offensively. What's our identity now? And to me, it's we're going to put up yards, which I don't even know if we're doing now, and we're going to go fast. But we might not score points, and we ain't that good in the red zone.
Yeah, we'll hit you quick and then lay down afterwards. I think that's what it is. That's a shorter way to put it.
I mean, yeah, and it's tough, and like I hate being this negative guy, but there is frustration when you know, like, and Jack, you seriously know, and I do too, is like the defense is good, man. Like it's hard to have a good defense at East Carolina. Like there's been not that many years when ECU has had a legit top 25 defense. And is it going to fall off a little bit with Savone out? Yes, absolutely. But we still got a really good defense. We have a defensive play caller who we are very lucky to have. This is the year to capitalize on it.
I think the frustration goes a little bit further as well, is because when you look at like an App State, when you look at Old Dominion, even Liberty's on the bottom half of top defenses, but App and Old Dominion are in the 120s of defenses. 120s of defenses. And it's kind of like, geez, how long can our defense hold on? And I know we're past the hard games now, so it's like, oh, wow. But it's like, dang, like, we need to be there as an offense. We went through this last year. If we had just a little bit more of an offense, we could have won those games, especially against 120 defenses. It's frustrating.
I mean, we struggled versus that. We scored 19 points, and then they gave up 66 the next week. Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think last year, I don't want to say the defense was taken for granted because everyone was well aware and very appreciative of Coach Harrell and the guys. But yeah, you got to capitalize when you have a defense like this for the third straight year. I do want to point out a couple of bright spots that I've seen in the offense lately, though. I mean, Rajah has 63 carries and he's averaging almost 5 yards per carry. I think that's extremely impressive. He's gotten a chance to show a little bit more of his getaway speed these past couple of weeks. I think it was Old Dominion where he broke 2 couple loose. So that's been good to see now that he's feeling healthy and feeling really well. And then also last game, Tyler Savage had a great receiving game. I think he had a couple really big catches and he looked good out there. So there are bright spots. I do want to just keep emphasizing that.
I agree. And like it is, me and Caden are just like frustrated as crap right now.
Well, as an offensive guy, we're super excited about a new coordinator. We wanted to see ECU score touchdowns, score plays, especially after last year. So I know we've been super negative. I feel like this past like 15, 20 minutes, but it's just like, we got to get there. We got, especially the defense, but let's change it up a little bit. Let's get a little bit more excited. Am I right, Holt?
Absolutely. So let's get really excited. Okay, let's talk about the kicking game. If someone knows about having a bad kicking game, it's this guy right here. No, but yeah, I mean, we got to get better there too. And like, we're lucky to be sitting at 2-2 with so much to improve on. But also, like we've talked about, is this defense is going to give you chances to improve on it. The schedule isn't that hard the rest of the year to where like we can go win a lot of games. We have a lot to clean up, but like sitting at 2-2, that's almost exciting that you have that much to clean up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think we'll see after this week. This week will be a big telling game, especially your first conference game. So I'm excited to see it. But you know what I've been loving? I've been loving our hypotheticals on social media. I've been loving like putting them out there.
At Holt Ayler Show on X.
Yep, and go follow. What's our next goal, Holton?
2000, we'll host a call-in show on a Wednesday or Monday after a game. So
yeah, that'll be exciting. But I love the hypotheticals we had the last 2 weeks. Really get the fan engagement, different opinions everywhere. I love the Pac-12 one. I know it came out that all the American teams are going to stay, but we've seen that before. And then I love the facility one, $40 million. Everyone wants to put the money to the facilities. We had a caller the other day saying, we need facilities, no NIL. It's like, we need people like Holton Ahlers who wants to stay here. And
respect, brother.
Yeah, but let's be real here. But which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's do NIL. So $40 million came out to the indoor and baseball, which, look, it's desperately needed. But the question is it now? And that's the question, Jack. I don't know if you had an indoor when you were at Nevada. Did you have an indoor when you were at Nevada?
We were the only Mountain West school in a city where it snowed that did not have an indoor facility.
Attaboy. So, yeah, Listen, we're like the dirt. We're like from the dirt, and now they're going to have an indoor, which I really support. But the question is, would you, if you spent $40 million on NIL instead of facilities, would it pay off and would it be worth it within 5 years? Pretty much is what the question was.
Yeah, well, I think 20 million is going to football. The other 20 is going to other athletics and that stuff as well. So I don't even think you need $20 million for an indoor. Some high schools have the blow up indoors where it's like you blow it up when you need it. That's all you need. That's all you need. People are talking about like, the weather here is so bad. You get the hurricanes, you get the rain, but like how many times does that happen a year? Less than 5?
I would say I probably missed 3 hours worth of practice from like lightning or something. We would go back out there. Like I never missed a full practice because of it.
Yeah, and then the other part of the argument was recruiting. Recruits want to see facilities. They want to see the nice facilities. And I don't know about that anymore. I think the facilities is totally old school. You look at KJ Jefferson, for example, Arkansas quarterback for the last 5 years. Now he's at Central Florida. He's going to be at Central Florida for 1 season. There's so many other players like that. They're not going for facilities. They could care less about facilities. They want to win football games. They want to make money. Like I would say 60, 70% of these players come from your average, middle class, low class families, maybe even higher than that. They want to make life-changing money. And people don't care about facilities anymore. Do you agree with that?
No, I do. And I'm going to say this. It's a new world of college football. Like, do facilities matter? I think a stadium matters a lot for recruiting. You don't want to go play in a crappy stadium. A fan base matters a lot. But Zay Winstead, for example, NIL was kind of around with him. Not really, though. We didn't get him because of NIL. He was here 6 months. His goal here was to get to the NFL and go on. His goal wasn't to come and make a home here. Now, look, did he find a home? He'll always love ECU. He was here the past weekend. Yes, but I'm using him as an example. Is these guys with 1-2 years left, they are in the portal. They're not going to say, well, do you have an indoor? They're going to say, how much NIL money am I going to make? And do I have a chance to make it to the NFL?
Yeah. And I think a big point is I'm like, we're not harping at Pirate Nation because $40 million is something to be really proud of.
And it's very exciting about the indoor. Like, I know this has been a negative podcast. Like, we are excited about the indoor. It's just like, we were just making a question. Literally.
I mean, if you have, for football, for example, 20 mil, like, think of what you could do with $20 million over a course of, let's say, 2 seasons. Let's say you go 9, 10, even more win games. You make the playoffs. You're bringing that money in regardless. You don't need to raise the money. You're going to bring the money in because fans are going to come. People are going to, away teams are going to travel. Like, oh, let's go to ECU. I heard it's a good environment. Oh, they're a good football team. Let's go to that game. The money's going to come in itself.
Yep. Jack, what do you think?
I think those are all great points. But at the end of the day, like, you just look at all the big time programs, like, you can't just keep pushing this indoor off and off and off. You know, like the running joke when I first showed up with your class, Holton, was like, yeah, they told me on my official visit we were going to have one.
They did.
And so yeah, exactly. In my mind, like, you can't just keep, delay it. Let's bank on this NIL and bank on us being great for the next 3 years and being able to afford one. But what if the guy gets hurt? What if what if it doesn't work out? I think we just need to do it. Now, does it need to be 20 mil? Like, can we do something like UAB where it's just a big structure? There's no walls, but it's going to cover you from rain and lightning. Yeah, you probably could do that a little more cost efficiently. But I believe that you just need to get it done with. You need to do it.
Respect, and that's probably the smart thing to do. Me and Caden are just what are conspiracy theorists.
What are 5 benefits of an indoor?
You can practice. The big one for me and why I think like we eventually need one, like Jack said, is summer workouts. You know how bad that is of like you do 10 sets of 10 on squat in the morning. Then you go run and do conditioning. And then it's like, you still got to get timing in with the receivers. That's when I think it's biggest time. It'd be so much easier if you said, all right, let's go throw in the shade in 67-degree air conditioned. Then, all right, boys, let's go out to the turf where it's 110 outside. And like, after we already conditioned there today, let's meet back up there and throw this afternoon. Like that's the difference to me. Jack, defensively, is there that big of a difference? What is the benefits of it defensively?
Yeah, other than depending on the player, occasional extra work they're putting in on the field, and by chance, is it 110 or is it lightning out there? I think the biggest thing defensively is just not letting it affect your practices, especially in fall camp where it's not like, okay, we could just redo this one because we're on such a tight schedule right there. I think it might have been last year, but we actually did have to go inside probably 3 times.
Yeah, camp
and
you
you
do
know,
go in a decent amount. That is the one
whether
time.
whether you're going back out or not, it's not the same. The flow's different. That practice won't be as good as if it was just a normal one. Another thing to consider is, and I guess the Pirates got to get there, but bowl game prep, when it gets freezing and it's raining and stuff, if there's no need, if you're going to play a bowl game in Florida or wherever, Coach Houston's not going to make us, I mean, depending on how gritty he's feeling, he could, but he's not going to make us go practice out there in the sleet in 30 degrees when we have an indoor. So I think bowl game and fall camp, I think there's benefits for sure.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I brought it up, and I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, did you donate any money? Did you donate any money?" No, I didn't. I'm also 25, so it takes a little bit of time in your life to get where you need to get to. But the biggest thing I want to call out is Pirate fans want to win now, and we've wanted to win since I was a freshman here in 2017, and we just really haven't. I know that we made 2 bowl games.
Yeah.
But what's the fastest return on ROI?
That is the thing, is like if you're in a win now situation, NIL is the win now, and facilities are long term.
That's the only argument. I understand everyone has their respect. They've been pushing the indoor for a long time, and I respect that. But just like the Pirate fans that call, tweet, put on Facebook, we got to win now, we got to win now. We got to put our money where we can win now. And I think now it's NIL. But
win now, yeah.
we can have that conversation. We can dive into that
a round
more
of
and more.
applause, though. 40 mil is very
That's
impressive, and
impressive.
we're very thankful for that because we do need one. Let's be honest. Like, we do need one. Jack?
Yeah, so let's say we're in win now mode and we get 20 mil. Is Mike Houston recruiting Arch Manning and baby Derrick Henry to come be a Pirate?
He better be with 20 mil, bro.
So you're going to spend that on 4 players and they're going to take us to the playoff?
No,
Maybe.
you're not going to go for your Arch Mannings. I mean, Arch Manning's going to cost $3 to $4 million. You're going to go for someone a little bit lower stacked than a Texas starting quarterback. Arch Manning's not leaving Texas.
Arch Manning's going to be a first overall pick.
Yeah,
but
Yeah, I mean, that was hypothetical. Obviously, he's already there,
exactly.
But I'm saying
But
recruit like that out of high school.
A good cornerback, 200,000, 300,000. A good running back, probably 300,000. You could get a pretty good solid amount of quarterbacks, and you could space that out
with the schedule too.
You could space that out where maybe you went heavy year one, but you go for guys that you know are going to stay. You kind of, I know that's hard to do nowadays. You can't put it in a contract, but you really space that money out where it's like not your top tiers, but guys who are coming from down. They want to play more. With the schedule, the conference, I mean, you make it to a playoff, you're driving a lot of cash in.
Yeah.
Especially with this stadium selling out and the fans excited again.
We'll see,
Yeah,
man.
I don't disagree.
Jack, miss you, brother. Glad you got to join, dude. We'll start trying to get you on more. Make sure you follow Holt Ayler Show on X. Jack will be up there posting his bets each week.
Yes, sir. See you guys later.
Yeet. See you, brother. All right, so we had Twitter questions. We tweeted out and got Twitter answers. Now, y'all thought this was a negative previous few minutes. It's about to get more negative with these questions. So this is a people show. We're always going to be completely honest. So we're going to toss these Twitter questions up on the screen and answer each one. If you want to be part of this, make sure you, like you said, follow us at Holt Ayler Show on X. We will have that every single week, and we will make sure if you tweet us, you're getting on the show. So let's pop up these questions right now. Starting with question. This podcast is brought to you by Worth Chiropractic. 2 convenient locations on Arlington Boulevard. Make sure you call 1-800-BACK-DOC. For any back and neck pain, Dr. Worth and his team will get you back to being you. Next, want to give a shout out to personal injury lawyer Wayne Hardy Law. Make sure you call 1-800-INJURED if you've been in an accident. They will treat you like family. That's the Wayne Hardy difference. Last, want to give a shout out to Madam Mesquite Goose Club. Classy, country, college. They got everything in between. Wallets, keychains. Make sure you check them out. Madam Mesquite Goose Club. Appreciate you guys for the support. Number 1 from James Baker. While UTSA isn't as dominant as this year as years prior, their name is still being thrown around in the Pac-12 realignment. There's news that just came out that they're out of that. So, but then it says absolute insane growth from a school which started playing football in 2011. Wow. What should ECU focus on to keep up with the exponential growth we've seen from schools in the AAC? Jeez, our screen is far away. I can read, I promise.
think we need to invest in our academics so we can read better.
Dude, the screen is far away. I'm sitting here trying to read it. I'm like, holy cow.
I'm messing with you.
I mean, I think, Yeah, it's sad to say, but it feels like ECU is getting left behind by some of the local schools. The JMU just hung 70 on Carolina.
Liberty.
We just got beat by App. It sucks,
Texas
man.
State.
Texas State's balling right now. Like, and then you say UTSA. Like, yes, they're down this year, and yes, we're a favorite, but that doesn't mean anything because until we go out there and beat them, it doesn't matter. To stay up to date with them, we'll answer these questions fast. I think there's like 11 or 12, but like I just think you got to go win. You got to go spend money. Look, these Texas schools are spending money.
I think we go
NIL.
back to exactly the conversation we just came off
Yes,
of.
you got to spend money.
You put the money where the fastest ROI is, because if you do that, look at Texas State. They were with Colorado last year in the most amount of transfers out of the transfer portal. I think they won 8 games, but for a school that's, 6-7 years into their Division I program, that's huge. We just got to put our money in the right places. And I know a lot of Pirate fans, they don't like the NIL, and there's some that do heavy, but there's still a lot of old school people that like, I want that old school love and passion.
100%.
That's dead. That's gone.
For the most part, which sucks to say. We'll get in deeper detail. All right, next question we have. Let's pop it on the screen. Brooks Hill says, caught this at 3:30 a.m. on fifth quarter. First of all, that was a doozy of a show. Shout out to Cheezel for telling me to go in the locker room. We'll play that clip. It's on our X. What did you and Caden exactly mean when former players convos with JDV concerning attitude? This show's been negative enough. Next question. Brooks, DM us if you would like to know more. Drew Baum says, as a player, did you ever have doubts about coaches, or is it strictly not talked about in the locker room? Does being a fan after playing change how you think about influence of coaches versus players not being able to compete these days? That's a good question. Do you think they're talking about in the locker room right now? I think this question is pretty much saying like the offense is struggling right now. Like, do they think internally, or like, is this the offense? Is this? There's always going to be doubt. Whenever you lose, doubt creeps in the locker room. Mm-hmm. The key to a good program, Caden, and we talked about this. I think JJC talked about it. Or no, Bryant Packer talked about it with baseball. Is whenever there is doubt, whenever there is negativity, you got to clip it in the bud. And that's the difference between a good program, good team, and a great program.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you're right. When doubt does creep in, I remember my freshman year, there were a couple coaches on the staff, particularly the defensive staff. We had a really bad defense that year that just didn't have respect. So I think it's important if the players respect the coaches, they're not going to have that. But if there's no respect, I don't think there's any coaches on this staff. There's parts where doubts are definitely
100%. Next question. What do we have? Thank you, Drew Baum, for that. Matthew Dragas says, do we run rub routes or clear outs? It's hard to see on the TV broadcast. So if you watch the film breakdown that I release on Tuesdays, when I talk about the dagger concept, Casey Kelly, it's one of our bigger concepts that we run on third and long. The dagger concept is a clear out and a dig. So the clear out, sometimes I call it for the love of the game, because that receiver ain't getting the ball. The people who say you got to have love for the game to do it. That's a clear out. Rub routes, I haven't seen that many of them, Caden. You've seen my breakdowns. We've talked about it a little bit. Like, we haven't seen many true mesh rub routes. I haven't seen many.
No, I haven't seen that many either. I love the mesh concept, though.
Yes.
If I was an OC, I would run the hell out of mesh routes. That's one of my favorite concepts.
That's what we did. You know who else did that? Liberty. That's why they scored a lot of points. So next question. What do we have? Thanks for the question, Matthew. Next, Blake Wise says, does Mike Houston shift into conservative play once we have the lead? Or is that just the perception because defense are adjusting to us and play calls aren't working? I've had conversations with Coach Houston. Caden, we've had conversations. He sat right there. Coach Houston has never lied to me. And really he's never given us any reason not to believe him. He does not have a say-so in what is being called offensively. He does have a say-so on if we go for it on fourth down, which if conservative, I guess that you could be more aggressive on fourth down, like when to go for it. But play calling in general, the X's and O's, Coach Houston said after last year, he is not touching that. He is hiring an OC, and he is doing it. That's JDB. That's not Coach Houston. Next question. Ryan Cole says, a lot of comments around about wanting to see Mike Houston take ownership of mistakes in press conferences and show more passion on the field. What is your perspective on that as a former player? You can choose to ignore that if it is Mike Houston that it helped. If that is Mike Houston, if that helps.
But before I get into that one first, my question is, can Holton read better today on these questions?
Dude,
but I'm messing with you.
It's far away. I'm going to post a picture when we do it because I'm going to get beat now.
I always see the fans post this, and I agree with them. I totally understand coming from a fan's mindset, especially now. Everyone's like, oh, it's a great week of practice. It's a great week of practice. Or, that's
Well, you want him to say bad?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If a coach came out there and like, guys, we suck. We're bad. The whole locker room, we're going to have a 2-10 season. And we won't win another game. Like, the coaches can't do that. They have to keep the mojo. They have to, I guess you could say, be a politician sometimes.
And Caden, listen, and you know this too. No one is more passionate about ECU football, and wants to win more than Coach Houston. I've been in the locker room with him. He has passion. In an era of transfer portal and NIL, at the end of the day, ECU fans can know this. I was with him. You were with him. He has passion. He wants to win. He cares about it more than anyone. He is there at 4:30 a.m. and leaves at 10 o'clock at night. Dude probably puts in 100 hours a week. Like, he cares. I promise you, no one loves winning and hates losing as much as Coach Houston. So that's why I will always have his back. And that's what it sucks, is because you can say that technically about any head coach, but not really too. These dudes are getting paid a lot of money. Do we need to win more? Yes, but we also lost two really good teams. Now, we had the lead. We got to fix a lot of things. Yes, and he needs to be held accountable. Yes, but he would say that too. He cares. I promise you, I don't know about what the passion is on the sideline. He's locked in. Okay, you've been in the he is as locked in as a head coach if I've ever had. So what is your answer on that?
Yeah, he's pretty locked in. I do laugh at the comments of like the memes when he's jacked on the sidelines.
It works out too.
That is funny. But it's like if you were in a foxhole, let's say you're in war or something. I don't know. I've never been in war, but let's say you're in war. Let's say you're in a foxhole and you have like 1,000 dudes rushing at you, and your guy's like, "Yep, we're gonna die here. Yep, we're awful. We're not gonna be able to compete against that." It just doesn't make sense. You have to feed the juice. As a head coach, you have to feed the juice.
And you want Mike Houston in your foxhole. Whether he's
exactly,
I think he gives plenty of emotion on the side. That is just the coach he is. Look, Mac Brown ain't giving. Well, he just lost. So I'm not saying that. Nick Saban would give emotion. Like, Coach Houston gets emotional on the sideline, and even if he doesn't, he's a really good coach. That is not the issue with this team. That's the answer. That is not the issue with this team. Next question. David Rodriguez says, are we wrong for expecting more from Mike Houston in year 6? Look, we're 2-2. We're through 4 games. Let's see how the end of the year goes first. Yep. I'm not going to jump to conclusions. It's too early. I still think we'll win 8+ games. It's too early right now. Let's see how it is in the end of the year.
And if we're 3 weeks from now and we are 2-5, we'll give a different answer.
This is the People Show. We'll be honest. Next question says from Mike, when playing cover 2, Mike, you're smart. When playing cover 2 on 1st and goal situation, why would a safety drop 8 yards deep in the end zone? No deep ball possible. I just broke down the film. Like I said, that is exactly what happened. They ran a corner out, Caden. You know, if the people watch my film, they know the weakness of cover 2 is the whole shot, which is where the corner goes in the middle of the field. They threw a corner. He was 5 yards deep in the end zone. I said the same thing on the film, so no, he'll get that fixed. I'm sure Blake Harrell's a really good coach. Next question. Thanks, Mike, for that one. Elton Smith says, when throwing twice as many interceptions as touchdown passes, when do you have the conversation about changing the quarterback, or are we just going to ride with Garcia no matter what? Jack kind of hinted at it as like, last year was so bad at like, we flipped quarterbacks too early, whereas like Garcia's leash is long. Now look, if we lose this week and you have a losing record after 5 games, that's a different story. We do got to score more touchdowns, though. I think that a lot of that is play calling. Caden, we talked about the deep ball a lot. I think that's something that Garcia really needs to fix, though.
Yeah, we talked about it. If we lose this week and we are missing the big plays like we have the last 4 weeks, I think it's time.
Yep, next question.
If we win, though, we stay.
Yeah, 100%. David Pearson says, what would you do differently with this offense to have more success than we are right now? David Pearson's like, if you were the OC, what would you do? First of all,
that's a lot of questions.
It is. Now, I would run more choice routes. Winston Wright is a choice receiver, which what this means is you tell him, okay, you have 5 yards to go wherever you want to go. Just get open. Winston Wright seems like that shifty type Snead. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. He was really good at it. Next, I would throw the deep ball. Take advantage of one-on-one coverage. Get the quarterback, get in his head, and say, throw it deep. Let them go out run it. Anthony Smith can run. Chase can run.
Big body, too.
Let these guys go run and make plays. We're not doing that right now. But also, as an OC, I would call the big play. I mean, I'm not saying we would complete them all. We'd be taking a lot more shots. I'll tell you that much. We talked about more mesh. And then the big thing that I think that I would make sure of, and that I'm not saying I was the best quarterback in the world, but I feel like I was really good in the red zone, was finding man coverage and exploiting it. There's so many coverages, so many blitzes, so many concepts that can trick you in the red zone. Make it as simple as possible. find the man coverage, find the one-on-one coverage, and exploit it. Give 50-50 chance in college football is the best chances you'll get.
I love all that. I have one thing to add is slow the tempo down a little bit. And this is such an armchair quarterback statement. I really now want to take advantage of the 15 seconds I have with my quarterback to make sure he's calm and comprehending any of the tips or any of the details I'm giving him. I don't want him rushing. No, I want a quick tempo, but I want him to really comprehend what I'm telling him. Look here, what's coming up here. And when you're firing off every 8-7 seconds, you're not getting that.
Yeah, I would say slow down. More empty would be very good. I'm a big advocate for empty. Garcia can run enough to make them have to honor him, and if not, he can take off, get a first down, and slide. Cade did make a good point there, though. You have the tablets. You have the coach in the ear. If your quarterback watches no film, the OC should be smart enough to look at the defense and be able to talk to his quarterback and say, go this way. Let's do more of that. I'm not saying Garcia doesn't watch film, but he's struggling with picks right now. Let's slow it down. Let John David Baker, from the guru that we've heard he is, look at the defense and talk in the helmet and explain what he's seeing.
Last thing on that, if you let 15 seconds go by on the game clock and you're at least set up, you're going to at least start be able to say, like, look at that blitz is coming here. You might be able to start calling the pressures as well.
Yes, 100%. And the last question, David, that was a really good one. Thank you for that one. Last question, B-Pay says, is JDB awake at the wheel? Hopefully he is next Saturday. That's all I have to say about that one. Caden, you got anything?
Right now, I think it's one of those midnight rides where you're by yourself on the highway and you're squinting a little bit. We'll see after this week.
We'll see. Appreciate y'all for the support, Caden. Having Jack back was great. I really appreciate him joining. He's in Colorado now. Miss the boys.
Yeah, having Jack back was good. And hopefully next week we can be a little bit more positive after a W. I know this week was a little bit negative, but hey, 2 straight losses. It's tough to be positive on it after 2 losses like that.
And we could have 2 superstar guests joining us next week. So,
oh, really? I don't even know about that.
Superstar guests. So we'll see. We'll see. Make sure you guys follow us at Holt Ayler Show on X. Look, we post all sorts of content now. It's not just a podcast. We're social media that we post stuff daily, like legit content. So make sure you keep following us. We'll see you next time. Appreciate the support.